Hello, friends, and welcome back to Burnt Cookies. This is episode 6. We're going to talk about a couple really important things this episode. I'm Cookie Monster, and we are talking about all things Burning Man and playa. So, this episode we're going to talk about weather, and we're going to talk about face and eye covers. We're going to talk about first aid, and we're going to talk about temperatures. So, pretty important stuff for Burning Man. I'm sure you've all heard about the temperature. So, obviously, it happens in a desert. So, it has hot days and it has cold nights. This is pretty well expected, but some years are pretty extreme. So, one year, like 2022, we had days that were up in the one teens, which was really difficult and made it a lot hotter and a lot harder for everyone. And then some years barely scratched in the 90s. So be prepared for hot, but don't count on it necessarily. Like this year, it's looking like a little bit of a colder year. So you also have to be prepared for colder weather. I always bring some lighter clothes for the warm weather. I always have a big wide-brimmed hat, which is really awesome. I showed you my fan hat the other day. That is really amazing to have and a great way to cover stuff when you're out on playa and keep yourself from getting sunburnt. But yeah, temperatures can be pretty extreme. They can be pretty high up and pretty high down. This year isn't looking that crazy. It's looking like 90s in the daytime and 50s at night. So it's pretty easy to plan for that. You bring a good jacket. That's fun. A lot of people like light up jackets or fur jackets. I love onesies personally. I have about 40 or 50 onesies plus. So I always bring 3 or 4 onesies. So I have a different onesie for a few of the nights. When it's cold out, because I run pretty warm naturally, and if I'm doing anything. So be prepared for all different types of weather. Hot, cold. I highly recommend comfortable items. I highly recommend things that you're going to feel sexy and happy in. And I highly recommend stuff that if it does get destroyed, you're not super distraught about it. Also, the things to think about with clothing is moop. If you're thinking about bringing something out to the playa and it has sequins on it or feathers or anything like that, that's usually a really bad idea, because if those things fall off, they're mad or out of place, and someone's got to pick that up. Probably not going to be you, even though if you're on point, you are. But most likely the camp where it fell off of, and that really sucks to find sequins and glitter and all that kind of shit. So glitters and feather are big no-nos. People hate glitter and they hate feathers because it's like herpes on the playa. You can't get rid of that shit. But otherwise, if it's an outfit that you want to wear, just put it out in the wind. I have a little 220 mile an hour leaf blower that basically I hold it out and I hit it with the leaf blower, and if anything flies off, it doesn't go with me. So that's a good way to test things and to get ready for the playa. Now, on that subject, if you're trying to customize things and affix things to other things, I highly recommend what I call burner glue. It's E6000. It is the best glue. It works on fabrics, it works on stuff and things, and it just basically turns into almost concrete. So it's really solid and nice, and I use it to affix a lot of things, to custom things that I'm going to be making and utilizing out there. So on that subject, we're going to go to eyewear and face wear on playa. So these are motorcycle goggles. These are great for the playa. I absolutely love wearing these. They keep 95% of the dust out of your eyes, but still give you some breathability because it's got like little side vents here. If it's really bad, you can always throw a little bit of blue tape over the side vents and cover them up. And then I like to customize stuff, so I got a bunch of little like metal charms and stuff like that. So I'll take these guys and I'll put, cool little key across the middle of it, or some fun little Alice in Wonderland charms around the edge or something, and I'll customize it so I know that it's mine, and it's also a little more fun to wear out there and to be part of the theme and part of the different stuff. So These guys are awesome, especially in the daytime. You can see really well through them. They are polarized, so in the sun they're really great and really good for your bike when you're out and about in the daytime. Now your other option, which is a really awesome option, most common option that most people utilize there, is ski goggles. Just basic ski goggles that you could get at any hardware store. You can buy them right now. They're super cheap because it's off season. And these work great, especially in the daytime, because often they have a darker lens. You can get clear ones of them also. I like to decorate mine, obviously. And like I said, when you do this, take your leaf blower and blow it really hard to make sure that it's not going to come off in the wind, so that you know that it's fully secure and that you have solid goggles and they're not going to have stuff flying off everywhere. Like, you don't want like tinsel around the edge that could come off or anything else like that. That's all moop, and that's all very shunned upon and very frowned upon. So I love goggles like these, or goggles like those if you want. I'm going to do a bunch of these for my campmates. And then at night, you want clear goggles. So these are my nighttime goggles that I wear if there's a dust storm at night. So if there's a dust storm at night, I have clear goggles just in case, so that I can go through the dust and actually see at nighttime. Then in the daytime, if it's not too dusty and I just want to block the sun, I bring fun little sunglasses like these. And these work great. They're cheap, couple bucks at the store. You get them at the dollar store if you want to, or whatever. And you just jazz them up a little bit with a few bucks worth of beads or whatever. Affix them with your E6000 so they don't come flying off. Don't count on the glue on the beads. That'll come off in 2 seconds. If you use the E6000 and let it dry properly, that'll actually stay affixed to it, and it won't go flying off when you're riding your bike through the playa. So they usually start out like this. You can get clear ones like this, or semi-clear, or you can get darker ones like that, decorate them, have fun with them, and then these would be like for nighttime, and those would be for daytime. The dust kicks up a lot. There's a lot of dust storms. Oftentimes you end up sheltering in place, which is, just sit down where the fuck you are and wait it out type of thing. I mean, if you have to travel in a dust storm, figure it out, but it's not fun. So a lot of times you settle in and you wait. And sometimes it's 10 minutes, and sometimes it's 2 hours. And that's the nice thing about Burning Man, is that usually you don't have somewhere to be. So, you can just chill and wait. So this is also another great option for covering up your mouth when it's dusty outside. So daytime, when dust storms are kicking up, you could cover your nose and mouth with something like this, and it's nice and thin, and it's not going to get you super hot. And then you throw your goggles on, and you're ready to go. So this is how you would jump on your bike and ride somewhere in the daytime, because at any point in time, dust can kick up everywhere and get all up in your face and cover you. And if you're not covered, you're not going to have a good time. You're going to be breathing that shit in. There's something called playa lung, which is not fun at all. It's this weird dry cough, and it's really hard on your lungs and on your system, and you won't have a good time. Now, say you're out there for build week, okay? I bring these for build week for intense storms, or if I have to go out and about in an intense storm. These are the nice masks, like you remember from COVID, the N95s or whatever they are. But essentially they fit really well, even with my bearded face. It fits really well. I can use this to contour around my nose, and so I have a full seal all the way around. And when it's really dusty out there, this is really useful, because you're not coughing all the time, you're not having the playa dust dry out your mouth significantly, you're not having to deal with a lot of the issues that you are going to deal with if you don't have something to cover your mouth and nose snugly, and you don't have something to cover your eyes, which is very, very helpful. Think about it too, and you're going to be riding your bike around. It's just like anything else. Dust kicks up, dust from art cars, dust from regular people's vehicles, driving to their camps, all that kind of stuff will be kicked up. And if you don't have goggles on, or if you don't have a mask on, it's going to be rough on your system. So we've talked about temperature, we've talked about mouth and nose covers and eye covers, and those you should have with you at all times. You might not need them all the time, but have it with you all the time, because you never know when a dust storm's going to kick up. You're almost always guaranteed one on Sunday or Monday, and because everyone coming in. So all the people driving around too fast is what kicks up all the dust. So be careful and be aware, and always have your stuff with you. Now we're going to talk a little bit about first aid. I have a bunch of first aid kits that I bring to the playa. They're a little bit different, each one of them. But one of them is like my little travel one that I keep super accessible, and one of them is like my in-camp first aid kit. And then here's a couple additives that you can add to your first aid kit. We'll get into these, but I highly recommend saline. Just a simple saline. It's like $4 at the drugstore. Same stuff they use for contacts and things like that. But the nice thing about this is that you get something in your eye, or really dusty in your eye or something like that, you just flip the top and you can squeeze it and it'll squirt fresh, clean liquid into your eye and get the dust out of it, or get the little rock out of it, or whatever. And this could save you from scratching your eyeball by rubbing it, which I've actually done, and it was horrible. So don't do that to yourself. Use saline for a couple bucks. Just keep it at your camp. And then if someone gets something in their eye, you squirt that right in their eye, and it gets it out, and it's just like tears. So highly, highly recommend a simple bottle of saline. This is a little more for the advanced, but I always bring Narcan. I have a friend who is a nurse who gets it for me, and Narcan can save someone's life if they are overdosing on opiates or other things. So I bring this with me, and that's in my first aid kits, but it's a little excessive, but also a good thing to have. Now the other thing that I always make sure I have in my first aid kits is Tums and like some Gas X, or like an Alka-Seltzer Gas X combo. Like this guy, this is basically both, but Tums and some like gas relief tabs or Gas X. These are huge, because if you eat something that's super yummy when you're out and about and it hits you the wrong way, or it makes your tummy flip-flop in the wrong way, having diarrhea and gas on playa is a horrible situation. So a little Alka-Seltzer and a little Gas X and Tums and stuff like that goes a long way, and it's great to have in your first aid kit. So this is the one I have with me a lot of the time, and it's just a soft-sided one. It has a couple real big Band-Aids, just in case. It has some good scissors and other stuff like that. It has some bandage tape. It has a good Neosporin with pain relief. It has a CPR face shield, and just a bunch of Band-Aids, different size Band-Aids. There's some stretch gauze. There's even a sterile cold pack in here. So that's just my little one. Kind of got out of like a car. I guess it was a Hyundai one, and I added some stuff to it. But good to have, good to keep accessible. I just keep it like on the edge of my camp area. And so if anyone needs it, it's there. And if they can't get to theirs, it's there. And always a good thing to have. And then this is my big first aid kit that I keep with me in my camp stuff. So I have large wound seals, God forbid. I have another ice pack, one of those big squeezy ice packs just in case. I have some triple stick gauze pads. Again, I have artificial tears or saline of some sort, and a bunch of different Band-Aids, small Band-Aids, big Band-Aids, even little portable Neosporins to take with me, and some aloe, hand sanitizer gel and aloe, which are the keys to having a good first aid kit. If your hands are dirty when you're performing first aid on yourself, it's not quite as effective. So having alcohol wipes, having hand sanitizer, things like that are going to be really helpful. Also having something for sunburn and bringing sunblock, very, very helpful. Hopefully some of these will help you out on playa. Have a great day, and that's the end of episode 6.